welcome to this episode of the DJ Interview with your host, Harry the Big Dog.
What's up, everyone? What is up? Harry the Big Dog here with the DJ Interview with the new setup. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody is staying dry. We had a couple of rainy days today. Well, not today, but last couple of days have been raining like woo-wee, I tell you. So just to give you guys an update on my Godzilla versus Kong thingy. Yo, that movie was dope. So you got to go watch it if you haven't watched it already. We got mad people checking in. Chris Claus checking in. What's up, bro? So back to Godzilla. Y'all have got to go see this thing. I'm a Godzilla and Kong fan, so I'm definitely big up in this. So definitely go see it. Chris is saying, where's his shirt? Yeah, it's in the mail. It's in the mail, bro. I got you. So let's get this show started. Yo, today we got a very special guest, DJ. He was the one of the 1990 DMC finalists for Northeast. Yo, let's just bring him up. DJ Reggie Reg, what's going on, bro?
What's up? What's up?
How you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. Happy to be here.
We coming straight. Well, you're in the Georgia area, but we coming via freeagentradio.com.
You know it.
You know, I always got to give a plug in for y'all. My peoples. Where Cam at?
I think he went into the kitchen in there. Yeah.
He don't want to be on camera no more?
He'll be back in a little bit, yeah.
So, yo, bro, what's going on, man?
Hey, nothing but was working, but now I'm trying to be independent like you.
I know that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to happen with all our resources. It's going to happen.
Exactly.
So let's get this thing started. So let everybody know who you are, your real name if you want, your government name if you want, and how you got started in this DJ business.
Well, I'm DJ Reggie Reg. There's apparently there's a bunch of us, but I'm from the Willingboro, New Jersey area. I got started DJing. A few of my boys used to DJ back in the day when we were in high school. And I would try to learn and kind of get a little bit of DJ time. My cousin Cam always DJ'd as well. So between one of my boy Craig and then Cam, my cousin, they would kind of let me get a little bit of time here and there. And I kind of developed my skills that way and kind of built it up a little bit.
All right. So now when you were coming up, you were strictly vinyl.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Strictly vinyl. I didn't even know about Serato till after I had moved down to Georgia, because I had stopped DJing in 92, 93, and I moved down to Georgia in 94. You know.
Wow. So yeah. What year did you start DJing?
Probably 80, maybe 84, when I was kind of helping out with house parties and parties at the school.
Mm-hmm.
We had a little crew back in the day, yeah. So that was kind of my entry level then. But I didn't get a little heavier into it probably till about 3 years later. I went to college and I came back and I took it a little bit more seriously. And then Cam took me over to Philly, and he's the one that helped me get my 12s and helped me get the right mixer and all that type of stuff.
Wow. So now, when did you, I'm kind of skipping around now, but we're going to get to your start. When did you actually leave the Willingboro area?
In 94.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been going for a long time.
Yeah, about a year and a half before I moved to Georgia, I had stopped DJing and stopped producing and just kind of chilled on a lot of stuff. I didn't start DJing again until about 2011, 2012.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's go to the beginning. When Cam helped you get all of your equipment, what
Mm-hmm.
did you end up getting first? What type of equipment? What turntables? What mixer?
Well, when Cam helped me get the equipment, it was 1200 because he had been telling me for a year and a half up until that point, you need to get some 12s, you need to get some 12s. I think I had some maybe some Gemini tables that were belt driven. So when I would scratch or anything, I'd have to kind of push it off with just the right touch. You had to kind of calculate all that stuff ahead of time when you're back spinning, not to put too much pressure because the record would lag and all that type of stuff. So when Cam we went to Philadelphia. I think we went to like Armand's, a Sound of Market 1, Sound of Market 2. We were checking, getting prices. And I believe we got the 2 tables and the cartridges and the needles for about $650, which was a pretty good
Wow.
deal back then. Yeah, everything was brand new. And obviously, the mixer I got was the Gemini with the wood on the sides. I forgot the actual serial number. I don't know if it was a 2200 or something like that. But it had the wooden borders on the side and just a little small 2-channel mixer. The one
Right.
that DJ Cash Money and Jazzy Jeffin would use back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Wow, man. So 84, you started with I think about 3 years after I did, but you
Mhm.
took it way further than I did. Take us through
Mhm.
the rest of the 80s.
So 84, I'd have been probably maybe a junior in high school. So 84, 85, we kind of do house parties and stuff like that. School parties for the high school. Then after I got out of high school, went to college. So down in Hampton, where I was at, I didn't have any turntables down there. I left them, home. But I was in a little kind of group down there. Matter of fact, it was kind of a hip hop group, which I learned later on after I left. I only stayed down there for one semester. But when I got back and was working in the record store, I was putting posters up and realized that the poster I was putting up for CNC Music Factory, the guy Freedom Williams was the guy I was in a group with in Hampton. We actually did a show with the Beastie Boys as well. Way, way back. Yeah.
Wow. You're
Mhm.
talking about Hampton here in Virginia.
Hampton, Virginia. Yep. Hampton
Wow.
University.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's right up the road, about 20 minutes from where I live.
Yep. Yo, look, is the Coliseum Mall still down there?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep. So down there, I was in a group. I was like the designated beatbox because I didn't have my equipment. But I met Freedom and his boy named Sincere, and we were all from up north, and we got to talking hip hop, and that's when he let me know that they had a kind of a little group. Matter of fact, I think a couple of weeks early he had a show with Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick. Matter of fact, I had heard a lot of that Slick Rick's album before it came out, years before it came out. I heard a
The
lot of that
first
stuff
one.
raw. Yeah, with him just rapping over just raw drum beats. Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Oh,
Yeah, but Freedom is real dope dude, real good guy. Yep.
wow. We got DJ Mix Mash checking in. What's up, bro? We got Jason Hodge checking in. What's up, bro? So we gonna answer this question, right now. Chris Kloss is saying, what is your most memorable event, excuse me.
Memorable event.
And
Um,
we ain't even get up to where you start, competition DJing.
well, really, it would probably be the DMC only because I didn't consider myself a battle DJ. I just always admired DJ Cash Money and Jazzy Jeff. Obviously, a lot of the Philly DJs was a lot of my influence because they were just over the bridge from Jersey. So at the time, I was in a group on Rough House Records, and we had a show in Philadelphia. And it was us, 3 Times Dope, and Poor Righteous Teachers. And the MC the rap who I DJ'd for, the group was called Blackmail. So a lot of the music was just the production was kind of, to me, it wasn't kind of hard enough. So when the MC would rap some of the songs, I would just spin breaks live. So after he would rap certain parts of the show, he would say, "Y'all want to hear my DJ Reggie Reg?" And that would be my cue to do a few little tricks and some scratching or whatever.
Right.
And afterwards, the guy who was managing Poor Righteous Teachers at the time, his name was Lance, and he was kind of going off and saying, "Oh my God, blah blah blah." And he asked me if I was in the DMC, and I would have never thought to get into something like that. Matter of fact, one of our DJ brothers from our area in Willingboro, named DJ Swift, he passed away. But at the time, Swift was in it, and I was kind of helping him with his routine. But Lance was insisting on me getting in the contest, even though it was closed. So he pulls out this gigantic cell phone the size of a book and calls someone and gets me in the contest. And keep in mind, the contest was literally about 5 or 6 days from that day that we had performed in Philly. So I didn't have a routine because I really wasn't a show DJ like that. And I wasn't going to do it until my cousin Cam was like, nah, you're going to get in that. You need to, he was always pushing me. I wasn't even going to be an artist on the record when we were on Rough House Records. Cam kept pushing me like, you need to take advantage of this opportunity. So I got into the DJ event, but I really didn't have a routine. So when we went there during the day, it must have been 60 something DJs. We were there for hours, and those are preliminaries, and they narrowed it down to 10. And I think Clark Kent was kind of hosting it and stuff like that. And I made the cut to the final 10. We had to come back that night and perform. And I was nervous. The turntables weren't set up like mine. And the little bit of days I had to prepare, what I was trying to do when I got on those tables, the pause buttons didn't work. So a lot of the stuff I was trying to do, I know it didn't translate well. And being on the stage that big with that many people out there, the nerves was setting in. But it's memorable because I just was happy to be part of it. Anytime you get a chance to be part of hip hop history is cool.
We got DJ Mr. Anderson checking in. So now, when you went up there, were you nervous?
Oh, very nervous, very nervous. When I was on tour or would do shows with the group, a lot of times I would kind of stay in the background and I'd kind of be shy about, breaking stuff down and doing what I could do. Now, if I was in my own environment, in my room or amongst, fellow DJs from our area, I could kind of go off and do what I want. But being on stage, I never considered myself more of a stage person. I think that's why I segued into kind of production after that.
Right.
Being behind the scenes, you don't have to be, in front of people exploiting your skills,
Nice. Well, take a look at this.
Oh no. Yep, and that's the sweatshirt I had on, Black Attack.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is DJ Reggie Reg back then in the 1990 DMC. Now, where was this held at? I'm not playing any music.
It was in New York.
Facebook to cut us off.
I forgot what venue, but it was in New York. It was in New York City, and the venue was pretty big because out in the crowd was it was who's who of hip hop was there. That's back when everybody would show up for events, no matter how big a star you are. Yep. There you could run into LL Cool J, Greg Nice from Nice. You just ran into everybody there. Matter of fact, Redhead Kingpin came up to me and kind of congratulated me. He was telling me I did a good job, and he didn't even know, but I had scratched on a remix of his record, Do the Right Thing. They sent the reels down to Studio 4,
right?
Butcher, and he called me in, and I did some scratches on there. But you'd run into everybody back then. The events were fun. You'd run into everybody involved in hip hop back then.
Right. This is somebody's bootleg VHS copy.
Yeah,
this is the only thing. When I was doing research on you, this is the only thing I could find.
Yeah, I didn't even know there was footage for something like that. That's something.
Yo. Now,
matter of fact, I met maybe about 9 years ago, down in Georgia. At the job I had at the time, I met a guy from New York, and we were training him to be a district manager. And I found out that he was in the music production and DJing, and he grew up with Rob Swift. So a few weeks later, there was a DJ contest in Atlanta. And he asked me if I wanted to go because he said Rob Swift was going to be one of the judges. Went down there and met Rob Swift and told him that I was in the contest with him. I figured he wouldn't know. And I said, I had on a black sweatshirt that said Black Attack. He said, I do remember you. So I was shocked at that, It's pretty cool.
Now this was the same one, Steve D?
Yeah, I believe Steve D was in it, and also Plastic Man. And I think Steve D won. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Steve D won.
And I think they were both part of Superman DJs, which was Clark Kent's DJs. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh man.
Yeah. See, I didn't have.
I know this brought you back, huh?
Yeah, that is insane. I'm looking at that young man up there like, who is that? Yeah, I didn't have a routine. See, these guys, they were trained. They were into that. I would always hear about the battles because I heard about Cash Money obviously being in and stuff like that. But I would have never thought in a million years that I would be in something like that. So I never had a routine for it. I was just up there off just raw, basically scratching and piecemeal, stuff that I'd seen and heard from other DJs. So
right,
it's still an honor to be there, for someone to call after the DJ thing was closed and enter me in. So it was an honor, definitely.
And that's what's so amazing about this. You saying you got called like 6 days prior?
Yeah, the Lance, who was the manager for Poor Righteous Teachers at the time, he saw me perform at the show that we had with Poor Righteous Teachers and 3 Times Dope in Philadelphia.
Right.
And he was going off and I just did a little basic couple of breakdowns and scratching. He was like, oh my God. He asked me if I was in the DMC. And I said, no. I said, a buddy of mine is in it and I'm helping him, but I'm not in it. He said, well, you're going to be in it. And so he made a call because at that time it had already been closed, and he got me in there. And like I said, I didn't want to do it, but Cam was like, "No, you got to go ahead and do that, represent our area." So,
Chris Gloss is asking, name your top 5 DJs of all time.
oh, of all time, let me see. Any sort of top 5 or top 10 list is going to always be hard because you don't want to. You'll think about people later on. And personally, I think when it comes to DJing and rapping, you can do a top 5 list. You can even do a top 20. There's always going to be someone left off.
Of course.
Serving. And I personally appreciate everybody's contribution to the art form itself. You know what I mean? But if I had to say my top favorite, I'd obviously have to go with DJ Cash Money, Grandmaster Flash, Jazzy Jeff, of course. That's so hard.
2 more. Come on, 2 more. DJ Cam.
My cousin's always going to be at
freeagentradio.com. Another plug.
And let me see here. Oh man, I like Qbert. You know what I mean? But once again, there's just so many more. I mean, I like certain DJs for scratch style, scratch techniques, some for actual blending abilities. And Philly, back in that scene in the early to mid 80s, you'd hear mixes from like Larry Levon and stuff like that. DJ Michael, incredible blend masters and stuff. So everybody contributes something different. Some people are good at excellent at scratchings, excellent at routines, excellent at blending, excellent at record selection, excellent at rocking parties. You know what I mean? And someone go around it can do all of that, like Jeff. He's so experienced and brought so much originality and a superb skill set. He's able to embody all of that. So yeah. Those would be my 5, for now. But
what is the deal
later on, I'll remember 30 more.
Yeah, right. Call me back. Now, what is the deal with you and DJ Swift? Because I'm reading that you were responsible for him even coming out, or help be responsible for him coming out.
DJ Swift, I was helping him. He was in that DMC, and I was helping him with the routine. And so that's another reason why I had no intentions of being in it, because Swift was always really good and always had a bunch of skills, and he liked showcasing the skills. He wasn't shy at all.
Right.
Yep. Swift was incredible. Yep.
Wow. And he's no longer here.
No, unfortunately, there was an accident. Him and another one of my DJ buddies, they had a store, and they were prepping because there was a lot of robberies in the area, and they had a store, and an accident happened, and unfortunately, Swift lost his life. Yeah. But yeah, our area has, for us to be a little small town in New Jersey, we have an incredible array of talented DJs, producers, rappers. I don't know if have you interviewed DJ J Ski yet?
No, not yet.
Prominent Philadelphia DJ. He's been on the air for a couple of decades. Excellent DJ. I'm aligned up with a bunch of DJs and producers where we started off really kind of small and close knit, and most of them has branched off to become really successful over the years. Yeah.
Nice. DJ Mixmash is saying, I like this guy. He's saying,
hey, appreciate it.
I like this guy. Sounds cool. I'm good friends with your cousin. That's my dude.
Nice.
Talk about Cam.
Nice.
DJ Butter L saying, salute to y'all. Was that the only competition you were in?
Oh yeah, that was it. I didn't plan on being in anymore. Yeah, that was that. Like I said, I have extreme stage fright, so a lot of people get on to me over the years. They're like, "Oh man, you can do this, you can do this, you can do that." But I never wanted to kind of be in the forefront. I just enjoyed being in the background, either helping other DJs develop or pushing them to that next level. But I never wanted the spotlight to be on me.
Wow. So, being 6 days, you didn't want to be there. You scared to death. What was your ranking when it was all said and done?
I think when it was all said and done, I think they said maybe I came in 5th or 6th. I think, I'm not sure, but like I said, I didn't know for sure. I was just happy to be off of that stage. I believe Steve D won. Maybe Plastic Man might have been 2nd. And I don't know if my buddy Swift maybe was 3rd or 4th or whatever. But hey, I was just happy to make the top 10 because I believe earlier that day, I'm sure there was at least 60 something DJs.
Right, and the other amazing thing about this,
Matter of fact,
sits there.
one of the DJs that was there was he had actually won one of the early DMCs, DJ Cheese. He may be from the Baltimore area.
Yeah, he won the first one. He
Yeah.
won the first
And,
ever
and,
one.
and it was so much competition there. He didn't make that top 10 that night.
Wow. And
Yeah.
that was back in 84, 86 when he won the first ever DMC.
Yeah, and the techniques and the skill sets, they evolve so rapidly. Even back then, they evolved rapidly. When I got back into DJing about 2011, 2012, I started looking at YouTube and stuff like that, and I'm seeing a little girl and her little brother doing scratches that I could only imagine.
Mhm.
They were like prodigies. It's almost like seeing a little kid who's like a piano prodigy or a violin prodigy.
Right.
They're hitting every note. They're hitting. They're spacing the timing, and this is how they were with the scratches. To this day, a lot of the scratches she was doing, I can't even do. So I go from at one time being a prominent, influential DJ in my area when things were kind of new to where now I look at a 12-year-old girl and I'm thinking like I'll never be able to do that. So it progressed rapidly, and I'm happy for it.
Nice. Wait, I got to do it properly. The international DJ Tommy Lee says he knows J Ski.
J Ski. Hey, what's up, Tommy Lee? Yeah, J Ski. Shoot, J Ski used to pedal his it was almost like a Huffy or a Mongoose dirt bike from across town to my house, and we talk DJing, and I show him different stuff, whatever. J Ski's first time on air, I took him up to WPRB in Princeton University. I used to DJ there as well.
Right.
So I was a assistant manager of a record store in Willingboro called it was called Sound Express. Before that, it was called the Turntable. And through the years, I've gotten a lot of my buddies to kind of work up there. And what we do work there, and me and Cam work there. And then people would come through and they'd ask me and Cam opinions on records. We had a big wall of 12 inches.
Mhm.
We number them. They was like 1 through like maybe 110. So if we had something playing, they'd say, all right, which one is that? And we'd be like, oh, that's number 56 or that's number 29 or something like that. And a guy came in one day and he was listening to something. He said, what is this one right here? And what it was a mix of mine that I was playing. And I said, this isn't on the wall. This is a mix of mine. And he was like, no, seriously, I'm in a rush. What is this? I need to know this. And I told him, I said, look, it's me. I'm playing it. So I pulled out a cassette and showed him. And I believe that may have been one of the times where I had to actually close the store down. My house is only about a mile away, and take him there and mix live for him. His name was Easy M. And he had the show. I think his show was called Raw Deal, and there was another show on WPRB in Princeton. And he was like, hey, we got to have you down at the show. So that's how I got into DJing on the air for WPRB in Princeton. And what happens, I brought everybody else up through there. So I got Cam up through there, J Ski, one of my buddies who used to rap. I believe he's in radio to this day. His name's Zulu. I think he's in broadcast down there, maybe the DC or Virginia area.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But yep, that's how I got into radio, through the WPRB, from working in the record store playing my mixes,
Right.
So it got to where I would take a mix up there, I think every Thursday. And the running joke was I kept getting lost going to the station. So on the air, Easy M or G, they'd be like, if anyone sees DJ Reggie Reg, kindly direct him to the radio station. Yeah, it was a trip. Yep.
Oh, yo, that is funny. Chris Gloss is asking, what do you think is the main difference between new school and old school DJs now?
Well, I think the new school DJs, they're a lot more technically precise in terms of scratching. Everything moves more at a rapid pace because they have that technology at their hands. You have the Serato, you have the mixers with the cue buttons on there and stuff like that. The old school DJs, I enjoy it because it's more based off of kind of a feel. We grew up with actual vinyl, and things weren't so fast paced. You weren't remixing the records as you played them. You kind of had to get a feel for the crowd.
Right.
Parties and events were more prominent then. So the DJ played an integral role in keeping that crowd on the floor and keeping them happy, And not that that's not the case now, because some of these DJ events are huge, and you see these DJs who are up there, and the crowds are like 20 and 30,000 people or more. So they have a connection with the crowd as well. It's just that to me, the overall feel is a little bit different, But
Yeah.
I respect them all, whether it's new school or old school. Hey, if they're rocking the crowd and they have a passion for the craft, hey, I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's just some of the rappers that we hate on.
You know what?
Not the DJs.
But even in terms of the rappers, I was like that for a little bit, but I had to remember, when we were listening to stuff in the late 70s,
Right.
Super Rhymes, Count Cool Out, Sugar Hill Gang. We were listening to that stuff, rapping around the house. My mom and dad be like, "What is that nonsense?" And see, as a younger kid, I could see the skill in it, I could see the art in it, but they couldn't.
Yeah.
So now I don't want to be that adult or that parent who's looking at this. So I try to have open ears. And when I listen to a lot of this stuff, some people will call it mumble rap or gibberish or whatever. But hey, there's a lot of skill involved in what's going on. Whether we vibe with it or not, there's a lot of art and there's a lot of skill involved in it. So I try to stay open to that stuff. Same with the DJing.
I'm not as political as you. So I kind of hate on them. But
Yeah,
some of them beats though, oh my stars, bro.
I'm telling you, the production, the lyrics, the concepts, the scratching, everything, the art form to me, it's hard for us to see a lot of times, but it is elevated, and if you don't think so, even on my playlist, I'm gonna have stuff like Cold Crush Brothers and EPMD and stuff like that.
Right.
That's the majority of what my playlist is gonna be, old school stuff. But at the same time, you listen to something back then, even if it was good back then, it's still gonna hold its weight today. But then you listen to the lyrics and the concepts and the way certain things are put together nowadays, and you'll see and hear where that art form has been elevated, whether you kind of want to hate on it or not based on the time period and the genre. To me, it's been elevated, so I have an appreciation for it. Obviously, I'm not going to have a playlist full of all this new stuff, but I want to keep abreast of it because I'm DJing events. I might be called to ask to do a graduation party. And I don't
Right.
want to be the lame DJ who can't connect and people are sitting around looking like, what? Why they hire this guy? So
That's gonna be me. You
yeah,
want to hear
that's part of it.
70s and 80s? Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, I'm going to love doing a 70s party or a pool party with people who are, maybe 45 and up.
Yeah.
But then you do that, it's like you're not even working. You're gonna do that with your eyes closed. So it's a little bit more of a challenge to prep for something where the audience is a little younger, let's say. Mhm.
Yeah, a little. So let me do a quick reset on this. This is Harry the Big Dog, and this is the DJ interview, and we are interviewing the 1990 DMC finalist in the Northeast, DJ Reggie Reg. So back, what's up, AC? What's going on? Now coming forward now, you stopped DJing from 94, 92-ish when
Mhm.
and then you left the
Yep, and then
area.
I moved to Georgia in '94. What happened, after DJing and being in the DJ contest, during that time, I was also in that group on Rough House Records. The group was called Blackmail. And I had got a kind of a taste of being on a major label, and I kind of didn't like it. I didn't want to be forced into doing something commercial. And this is before Rough House started letting everybody else do things the way they wanted to do. So you
Right.
listen to the Fugees and Lauryn Hill and Crisscross and stuff like that, and all the other groups that were able on Rough House, Tim Dog, stuff like that. You got people who were able to do the records the way they wanted to do them. I think when we were there, I think they were kind of trying to mold us in the form of maybe like a pop, whatever was popping at that time in terms of pop music and rap,
Uh-huh.
So, and I kind of like that, but I didn't have a leg to stand on because I got added into that group. That group consisted, they already had a DJ and the guy was producing the music and they had a rapper. And matter of fact, the DJ I replaced, he's a good friend of mine. He's DJ Woody Wood. And so I kind of replaced him midway through, well, really about 3/4 of the length through the project. So I went in and kind of scratched on a few records but I was added to the group late, so I wanted to do a few tracks, but of course they wouldn't let me or whatever. So, after that, I did a project that I produced. Someone once again came to the record store and they were asking me about if I knew a producer. They had heard of me, so that they figured since I was a DJ in the area that I would know producers. So he wanted to produce a project, and he was asking if I knew any producers, and I told him, I said, "Well, I'll do it." And keep in mind, I hadn't produced anything at that point. I didn't have
Right.
any production equipment. So I told him I would do it, and I told him what to get. I told him, I said, I'm going to need a sampling drum machine. Initially, he got me a Roland W30 workstation, and after a few days, I was like, this isn't going to work. So I had him go get me an Akai MPC 60, and the rapper's name is Courageous Chief, and my cousin Cam was a DJ on the project, and just kind of put that together on a whim. I kind of taught myself that drum machine in a night or two through trial and error, and got the hang of it, and I got better and better on it every day. And that project, it was in limited availability. It was available in a few spots in Trenton, I believe, maybe a few stores in Philadelphia, and of course, the record store where I had worked at. But it sold out, and everyone seemed to love it. It's a shame that it didn't get put on a major.
Right.
At the time, I think Warner Brothers, Elektra maybe, kind of wanted it, and I was trying to get the guy to kind of license it over to them because they were interested in it. And Bismarck and Cool V at the time, they wanted to sign Cam and Chief. There was ample opportunities, but I believe the executive producer at the time kind of wanted to do it all himself, and maybe the wind ran out of his sails, and it just kind of sat stagnant. And so that, combined with what happened on Rough House or whatever, I kind of had my fill of the industry as a whole, and I just didn't want to be bothered for a while. So in '92, I just stopped everything.
I know that. And then you get out of town. Big up DJ West, DJ Buff. So you leave and you just kind of stopped.
Yeah, people laughed at me. I said when I moved down to Georgia, and it's part of the Metro Atlanta area, the city that I moved to, but it's a smaller city. And I told everybody I wanted to move down there and just become an anonymous nobody. I just kind of wanted to live a quiet life, kind of under the radar. And keep in mind, back then there was no real kind of internet and social media and anything like that. It was just things were plain. So about 10 years ago, one of my younger friends is asking me. He said, "Yeah, we heard you used to DJ and this and that and all this type of stuff, and used to produce." And I said, "Yeah, I did a project." I said, "I don't know." I said, "I don't know if it's on the internet because the internet wasn't around when I did it. Back I made those beats in '90. We released the EP in '91. So I just happened to look online and just put the name in there, and I start seeing where people were selling it for like, a couple of $100 here, $600 there. They were selling personal copies. One of them sold for like 12 or 1300. And I was like, wow, unbeknownst to me, because of the internet, it kind of had spread.
Right.
There were a lot of people appreciating it from all over the world. So I thought that was kind of cool. So that kind of helped me kind of get back into DJing and making beats as well. I said, man, this is kind of awesome that people around the world are hearing it and appreciating it, even though it was something where I made most of the beats back in 1990. So
right. Cool. That was what you was telling me the other day.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Oh, that is so dope. So now you come back up into, you said you started DJing back in 2011.
Yeah, I believe it was either 2011 or 2012. I believe 2011. One of my cousins down there in Georgia, where I moved to, he was married, and he had been married for a while, and his wife had heard that I DJ'd, and she wanted me to DJ their 10-year wedding anniversary. So I didn't have any equipment, so I bought some 1200s. I bought a mixer, and I bought all the equipment to do the wedding anniversary. And then after that, I said, well, I need to do a few more gigs to kind of pay for this equipment. So I did a corporate gig and a few more gigs to build up the money to pay for it. So since I've been doing that, now I've kind of been back in the DJing game. And from there, I bought some more production equipment as well. So I kind of fiddle around making beats here and there or whatever, trying to figure out what to do with them.
Nice, bro. That's coming back a little strong.
Yeah.
So now, what are your future plans with getting into the DJing and producing? You want to DJ more, produce more, or?
Well, really both of them. I want to have things a little bit more event oriented, a little bit bigger events, not just DJing, but definitely DJing is still in the wheelhouse. But do a little bit more events that are a little bit bigger, and production as well, because down there, the movie industry is big in Georgia. So even if I can make beats that are for TV commercials or like maybe backdrop music for movie scenes or something like that, there's always an opportunity to get your creativity out, but yet get paid for it. And now I'm starting to learn more about how to do all this stuff on the internet and make money from it as well. You don't have to be a big prime artist that's in everybody's face and on TV and all over the internet in terms
Right.
of making money. If you're a content person, you can do your craft, do something that you like, and still get paid enough from it that you don't have to deal with a everyday job, you know.
Nice.
Mhm.
So have you broke over your shyness or not want to be in front of a crowd?
I still probably wouldn't want to be in front of a huge crowd. You know, I'm more than willing to help younger DJs. I like doing that. A lot of my nephews and nieces who want to learn about DJing, I kind of help them. And young
Right.
folks, I think I enjoy that more than anything, kind of teaching and guiding. But
Mhm.
in terms of me being a big crowd, nah, not really.
Okay.
And that'll depend. If I get big enough to do those big giant arenas, I guess at that point the stage is up so high, you're not looking at nobody eye to eye, so you don't have to have that nervousness.
They gonna see you on the big 600-inch screen
Oh
behind you.
man, that is something. That is something.
Oh man. So we coming to a wrap up. This is one of the questions that I asked. Jason
Mhm.
is asking it in a different way. What advice would you share with other new DJs that they don't hear enough of today?
Hmm. I don't know. It would probably be along the same advice that I used to tell the DJs back then. A lot of times it's just a matter of just believing that you could actually do it. A lot of times people get starstruck or they have heroes or people that they look up to and they could never imagine that they could do it. My approach was always, you know, if I seen someone who I thought was the epitome of whatever craft I was looking at or whatever, I would immediately try to emulate them. So I tell the younger DJs, hey, emulate who you like, who you think's at the top of the craft, and then your time is right around the corner. One of my favorite DJs, DJ Cash Money. A lot of my scratch styles and stuff that I would love to do, I would emulate him. Grandmaster Flash. Heck, my cousin Cam, there's a lot of stuff that he did that I actually liked, and I just try to incorporate and have an amalgamation of all the DJs that I actually admire, and kind of try to find a way to kind of work all of that into my own, skill set. And once you're able to do that, you'll find it easier and easier to basically kind of do whatever it is that you want. Now, me, I had that extreme stage fright, but if you're a DJ who's not scared, the sky's the limit.
Right.
DJ J Ski, um, he went from coming over my house, loving the DJ, riding his bike across town. I took him to WPRB. Shoot, J Ski's not shy, not at all. And there was a place, I believe it was in Cherry Hill, called Mahorns. It was a club, and there was a DJ contest up there. J-Ski got in that DJ contest and killed it, first place.
Wow.
Sky's the limit. If you're a younger DJ, you can do whatever you want. You find somebody who's a good mentor, kind of always be open to listen, and like I said, try to put a little bit of the 4 or 5 DJs that you kind of admire, trying to kind of mix all that up and form it into your own style. The sky's the limit.
Right.
Mhm. And
Nice.
nowadays, this younger generation, heck, they have the internet. They have the internet and social media. So you don't even need people to kind of really big you up. If you're not shy and you have the ability to set up cameras and put yourself out there, you're gonna take off. There's nothing that's gonna hold them back nowadays.
Now, I don't remember if we talked about the streaming part of uh, DJing or anything, but are you on the internet streaming?
No, no, not yet. That's what I'm trying to learn now. I'm no longer at my job. I was a banker at one of the bigger banks for the last 8 years. So I just left there about 3 weeks ago. So now I'm trying
Okay.
to teach myself all of this type stuff to get involved with it.
Roger that.
Mhm.
Oh man. So you're looking to ramp this thing back up
Mhm.
and get to a level of pay that you were making when you were working or more.
And I've done the math on it, and I've done the research, and that's going to be easily attainable.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's a big market out there in the ATL area.
Yep.
You just gotta tap it right.
Hmm. And not only that, if I get the hang of this streaming stuff, it won't just be confined to the ATL area. Heck, you got
Right.
worldwide at that point.
This is what I tell people. Me
Mhm.
and me and international DJ Tommy Lee, we did a New Year's Eve event, and we
Mhm.
had a girl from the UK come on.
Wow.
It was like 4 in the morning. She was already tore up. It's already after midnight. It's already the next year, 2021. But you know, like you just said, and this is what I tell people: you're not only bound to your area or your, you know, even your tri-state area.
Exactly.
It
In
is
terms
worldwide now.
of DJing and production, I wish we did have an internet and social media back 30 years ago or more
Oh,
when I was DJing and getting into production and stuff like that. See, especially for someone like me who really, being on tour, I've been on tour, you know, and that's just not for me. But at the same time, there are DJs who've been touring for 3 decades, and that is
right.
for them. They made plenty of money. Me, I'm more of a homebody, and I'm more of a teacher and an instructor. So I like that.
Mhm.
So this stuff would have done me well back then to not necessarily have to go out, but to be able to do it from the confines of my own studio, you know what I mean? And help people. And at the same time, maybe put out some, mixtapes or whatever they call it now, the mix streams, whatever. Cam used to get on to me decades ago about I used to give away mix CDs. I wouldn't charge
Mhm.
anyone. I didn't have the heart to charge anyone. I was just so thrilled that people wanted to hear my mixes. I
Right.
would give them away for free, and Cam said, "Oh, you can't do that. You got to charge them something." But it didn't bother me. I was just happy that people wanted to hear my mixes. But now you could monetize stuff like that, just charging a really small, moderate fee,
Yeah.
but you have such a big net to cast out there
You
that you'll
know,
do all right.
they have the other platforms like Mixcloud and SoundCloud and all of them, and you can post your Cash App link or whatever payment option you do, and people actually do give. We
Yeah.
got big up to the untouchable DJ Fame. What's up, bro? Yeah, so there's a lot of ways to make money. Now,
Mhm.
you said you were touring. Who did you tour with that we know?
When I was with the group on Rough House Records, we toured with Schoolie D. Yeah, we
Oh,
were we were out on a 30-day tour, and it was this was the end of '89. Yeah,
PSK.
exactly. Yep. Yep, Gucci time and all that. Yep, we toured, and that's a memorable event as well. That was pretty cool. I got a chance to see what it was like to be on tour, to be on the road or whatever. And once again, I'm glad I got a chance to experience it because it's an experience I have under my belt. But at the same time, I realized that I kind of didn't want the life of an artist, just
Right.
to be gone day in day out, living, on the tour bus and in hotels and stuff like that. It was fun for me for the first maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 days. After that, I was ready to come home. But I still had like 3 more weeks. But you get a chance, you go out of the country, you get to see your country, you get to it's an expansive experience. And like I said, I wouldn't trade nothing for it. I'm glad I got a chance to do it, but I just seen where that couldn't be my lifestyle.
Right. What
Mm.
countries did you go to? What did
Oh,
you
well,
travel to?
when I was there on that first leg of the tour, we went to Canada. Now, when the second leg of the tour was going to go to England, but I didn't go back out on the second leg. So we
Okay.
started off initially in Canada. I believe we were in Toronto, maybe Ottawa, and I don't know if we went to Montreal. We were at 3 or 4 spots in Canada. Then we came into the States. We were in Detroit, Chicago,
Mhm.
heck, Madison, Wisconsin. We were all over the place. Oklahoma City, you know. We were down in Dallas, Texas, Austin, Texas, Houston.
Wow.
We were all over. And like I said, to me, that was a lot because up before then, I just did shows here and there. We do a show in DC, show in Philly,
Mhm.
stuff like that. So, like I said, I enjoyed the experience of being an artist, but I figured out being an artist wasn't for me. So.
Roger that.
Mhm. But I put everything in a collective experience. I just enjoy all the experiences I've had in such a short period of time.
Yeah. And you talking about towns or states where you didn't even think they listened to a Schoolie D.
Oh man, these folks
They
knew
probably loved him and
they
knew
knew
every
all of
word.
Schoolie's lyrics, whether we were in a big place or whether it was something that was smaller and intimate. It didn't matter what race they were, they knew all of Schoolie's lyrics. And this was, like I said, '89.
Mm, mm,
So
mm.
nowadays it's 2021, any and everybody knows hip hop because it's so prevalent, it's so
Yeah.
prominent. We have stuff like, from cable to internet to streaming to everything. But back then, in the days of the cassette tape and the vinyl pressing, you're in the middle of the country at a place that only holds maybe 500 people, and 98% of them don't look like you, and they're mouthing all of Schoolie's words,
Mm.
like one of the original gangster rappers. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
For
So it's
real.
an experience, yeah. Yep. And
I-
even back then, where were we at? We may have been in Madison, Wisconsin. I think we were Madison, Wisconsin. And believe it or not, I ran across 2 girl DJs back then, and they knew about people like DJ Cash Money and stuff like that, Tat Money,
right.
Cooley's DJ Code Money. Yeah. They didn't know just the popular DJs. They knew the inner workings of street level DJs that weren't
Yeah.
real popular. Yeah.
That's when you really dig in and find out, who's who.
Hmm.
Oh, that is so dope. I talked to a couple of DJs from the West Coast, and early on in their career, they took to all the East Coast music because that's pretty much that was out. Did you
Hmm.
find that in those other places too that you went? Your Detroits, your Oklahomas? Did you find that too?
Well, I didn't run into a whole lot of people who knew about on like that street level DJ. You'd have to run into someone who that's what they did. In this particular case, this is what those 2 girls did. They DJ'd and they studied up whatever was available to them. They knew who the big players were on the underground scene. Now, I didn't run into
Mm,
that at every single place we went, but I thought it was a trip that I was in Madison, Wisconsin, and ran into 2 girl DJs at that time. See, now you have girl DJs everywhere, but back
yeah,
then, that
that was rare.
it was very rare, and it was rare that they knew about the subculture.
Yeah.
Because with Philly played an integral part in terms of a lot of the early scratch techniques and stuff being sped up a little bit and it being a little bit more technical. And like I said, one of my favorite DJs, Cash Money, I'd always have my ear to the radio. It's like, how did he do that? And there wasn't a lot of video back then, so that's another thing you have to
Nope.
kind of
Yep.
learn by ear. So I'd have to like, okay. And they're like, well, I know Jeff does this, so let me try this. And then Cash does this. Oh, this is pretty cool. You do stuff like that. And like in the earlier days with Grandmaster Flash, you'd sit there and like rack your brain, like, how did he do this record?
Hmm.
But that the adventures of what is it? The adventures of Grandmaster Flash on the Wheels of Steel.
Yeah.
I mean, Flash could do that whole thing like live.
Me too.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm lying. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah. And then you figure out like, man, you're always thinking like, how can I do this the exact same way? So a
The
lot of times
exact
there
same
are
way.
things, yeah, a lot of times there are things that are done and there's edits, and there's stuff here and there. But when you get good enough to where you could do it, and even if they did do an edit, but you can do it yourself, that's that practice and dedication. It takes you to whatever level you want to get to. But now these DJs now are they're just phenomenal. They really are.
Yeah.
You know.
Some of them are crazy. And there's different types, every
Mhm.
like you stated earlier in the conversation, there's different types of DJs. You got your scratch DJ, they'll work a year for a 6-minute, set, and that's it.
Yeah. But you know what? I respect that grind because when I hear a set like that, I got a big grin on my face.
Yeah.
When I see how technically proficient they are, to know how much practice went into being able to
Oh
do that 6
man.
minutes without one mistake.
Yep.
It's a lot of dedication. So I respect someone's grind for being that into that particular part of the craft. Just the same as I respect someone doing a 60-minute blend, a flawless blend set, you know,
Yeah.
with flawless record selection.
Yep.
It's a craft and a skill nonetheless. So yeah, I respect it all.
There's a big variety. Hey guys, if you got any last questions before we start wrapping this thing up, put them in the chat box. If not, give DJ Reggie Reg a big up for his interview. So now you're gonna work with Cam at the
Oh,
station.
yeah, I'm gonna be doing something with Cam here at the station. He's been wanting me to do stuff with him for years, and of course, me being tethered to that job, but I would always say, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. Or even if something is a 1 hour mix, I was just too lazy to do that because I would a lot of times I'd be so stressed from that job that I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. But now I got nothing but time. So
Yeah.
that combined with seeing how even on a lower level of what I want to do, it's really attainable.
Yeah.
And now I have the time to do it. So yeah, definitely. Mhm.
Yes, definitely. Because a lot of things is going on. A lot of big things is happening, and I'm just glad to be a part of some of it. I'm not
Exactly.
a part of all of it, but I'm glad to have met you guys and just to be in the clique.
Exactly. That's how I've always looked at it. Just to have a modest contribution to something It's awesome, and especially when you look at decades later, a handful of people still remember it or be like, "Oh, yeah, I remember you from such a." Hey, that's awesome. I have a modest mark in the big picture of things. You can't ask for too much more.
I should have put that link to your video up, but I
Oh,
didn't
no, you
do
ain't gotta
it.
worry about
I
it.
probably they gotta hear you.
Oh, no, no, there was no
It's a bad
routine.
VHS copy, but you could pretty much hear, and your scratching was so dope for the time, bro.
But when I was doing it, I was mad because the place was so big and, it was like a slight lag, like an echo, so it was affecting my performance, and then there was a trick that I did actually practice with the, pause buttons, but, some people's pause everyone's turntables aren't the same.
Right.
So it didn't recover fast enough. So I was like, I remember complaining to Cam and one of my producer buddies and at the time, and they were like, "Nah, you did good, you did good." And I was like, I was just kind of disappointed, and I was thinking to myself, that's why I didn't want to be in it. But at the same time, when I look back, I am glad I have that experience as well. So
For real, to
mhm.
come in before all the DJs that probably spent that year to get that 6 7 minute mix, scratch mix, and didn't even make it to the top 50.
Yeah.
And you made it in the top 5 or 6, top 10, let's say.
Hmm.
So a big accomplishment. And I seen where, you know, you were playing with the mixer because it looked like it wasn't doing something that you
Yeah.
needed it to
Yeah.
do.
Hmm. Yeah. And so, like I said, that's just how it is. Sometimes I mean, you can't have your performance recorded in your room. If I could have done that, maybe I would have ranked a little bit higher. But part of it is being out there performing in front of the crowd. That's part of it. So,
Yeah, and you
mhm,
got to show your stuff.
but I would have been much more comfortable, like how I normally was over the years, having people come over to the crib, coming to, doing it that way. So,
Having a few drinks, pizza.
most of the people who know me from DJing, that's what they know me from. They know me from either teaching them or showing them what I can do at the house and in the comfortable confines of my own little studio. Yeah.
We'll get you out there. We're gonna have you at the stadium. You and everybody else.
Oh,
Cam, Tommy, all of y'all.
yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, when I do events like that with Cam, I'm a lot more comfortable because Cam's comfortable in front of crowd, so I can kind of sneak in and do my little bit of part and then kind of keep it moving.
Really? He's comfortable? I could not tell.
No, look, Cam's a seasoned vet.
I know.
He's been dealing with big crowds for what darn near
He
40
he
years.
only got 30 years under his belt.
Yeah.
30, 40 years.
Yep. And like I said, most of what I've done has been at the behest and encouragement of him. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it.
Mm.
Mhm.
Chris Gloss is saying great conversation. So I want to thank you for taking the time. I know you traveled all the way from ATL area to come to New Jersey to
Mhm.
do this interview. So
Yeah,
I
yeah. I'll be here in a
appreciate
couple
it.
weeks. Hey, I appreciate it too. Yep,
And
definitely appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, you guys are welcome.
yeah, big up the Cam too. Put your hands up, Cam.
Damn
Cam's
right.
in the background.
Crowd controller.
He's security for the night.
Oh man.
Watching my questions.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you guys for, having me be able to interview you and just being available. And I appreciate y'all. And matter of fact, we'll see you in a couple of days. We're heading out
Definitely.
there
Mhm.
and get some good pizza and Chinese food.
Definitely.
And then I'll go see Cam. Food is first.
Always with
I'll
you.
come see y'all afterwards.
Mhm.
All right, my brothers, hold on in the green room while I close this out.
Appreciate it.
Another DJ interview by Harry the Big Dog. Tonight we had DJ Reggie Reg, 1990 DMC finalist for Northeast. I wanted to thank everybody who came on and put your questions in. Thank you for the support for all of this time. And we got a couple of surprises coming up soon. Big Dog may be on the radio soon. I'm getting it together. So again, we will see you guys next Tuesday, always 8-ish Eastern time.